Jingle, 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 you can hear the sleigh bells ring. I am old Kris Kringle, I'm the king of jingling. You can see the Christmas tree. Jingle, 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 you can hear the sleigh bells ring. I am old Kris Kringle, I'm the king of jingling. Ho ho! Ho ho ho! It is I, the great Derposaurus, bringing you non-existent viewers the 2025 December Skizzo Rambling. Yes. Oh man, tradition dictates Daily Reacts is gonna watch this and hear me singing Jingle, Jingle, Jingle and be like, no! Because it's gonna remind him of when we did the live reaction of Tobey Maguire's 2002 Spider-Man movie. We did the live reaction on Daily Reacts TV before it got terminated. But good thing, compared to last year's December Skizzo Rambling, he got the channel back. So please don't forget to check that out if you guys haven't had a chance to do so yet. He's going to do a whole series live reacting to the, or maybe not live reacting, but making reaction videos to the Danny Phantom and Ben 10 crossover that they're playing soon. So yeah, go to his channel and stay tuned for that, and his production channel and gaming channel too. But it's like, yeah, it's like this has been the tradition for the past like 2 years since we did that reaction, because he was like, are you singing a Christmas song? And it was like, keep in mind, this was like in the middle of November, and it wasn't even like Thanksgiving yet, and I just suddenly got the itch to start singing Jingle, Jingle, Jingle from the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer soundtrack, the original stop-motion animated film from the 60s, yes. And I sang that again December Skizzo Rambling last year. I'll sing it again here, so yes. This jingle season, jingle bells, and jingle, jingle, jingle. What if we went to all over the place? We ran out all over town, all over the neighborhood, the cul-de-sac, and just went jingle, 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 ding, 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 jingle, 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 the jingle, the jingle, the jingle, 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 jingle he, jingle who, jingle they, jingle them, jingle she, jingle her, jingle him, and jingle the day we will sing the jingle bell, jingle bang, ho ho ho, we will hit all the jingle, the jingle bells, jingle, 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 yes, we will hack and slash at the jingle bells, yes, 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 yes. But anyways, yeah, it is currently 9:51 on December 7th. I so wanted to make this video sooner than I actually did, because I promised you guys in previous Skizzo Ramblings that I made this year that I would make, or I did, like, I said, hey, or I think I said, hey, no promises, but I'm gonna try, like, make the Skizzo Ramblings just, like, as close to the first day of each month as humanly possible. It's just this December that wasn't really the case. I would have record this video last night, because I got off work at 5 o'clock last night. But then right after that, I had to, like, run some errands. Then by the time I got home, by the time I showered and ate some dinner, I made the thumbnail for this video, and I was going to, like, record it, but then I decided to just, like, lay down and just take a little nap at, like, literally the worst time in the evening to do so, because it was, like, I think it was, like, 9 or 9:30, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna lay down for, like, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes, and then I woke up like 4 hours later. It was like 1:43 in the morning. I'm just like, the frick just happened? Oh no. But it's okay, because this I'll get into it later in the Skizzo Rambling, but like, this portion of the video is gonna be like my review-ish for Five Nights at Freddy's 2. Because when I woke up in the middle of the night, be like, oh shoot, I didn't record my Skizzo Rambling, but that's okay, because it gives me the opportunity to kill two birds with one stone. Because I've been wanting to record, I'm going to record the Skizzo Rambling by December 7th at the very latest. But I'm also, my girlfriend Eliza and I were planning on seeing Five Nights at Freddy's 2 after I got off work today. So, we did. So I'm going to kill two birds with one stone. Or, I guess, maybe kill three birds with one stone. Maybe, perhaps, we'll see. Yeah, so just like, so I can include my thoughts on Five Nights at Freddy's 2 for this video. It's like, don't worry, I'm not getting the spoilers in this Skizzo Rambling with FNAF 2. like I'd say the widely anticipated sequel for the 2023 adaptation of the smash hit gaming franchise Five Nights at Freddy's. Danny and I saw that movie in theaters. I think it's cool how like the first movie was released like around Halloween back in 2023 that October, while this one, the sequel, was released kind of around Christmas, for December for 2025. And yeah, you know how like some sequels to films, it's like you don't really need to watch the first film to know what's going on. Like, yeah, it's recommended that you do, but if you don't, that's fine. Yeah, this is not one of those sequels. If you haven't watched the first Five Nights at Freddy's film, or if you haven't played any of the games, like if you're someone who has never played the Five Nights at Freddy's games or watched the first film adaptation for neither of those two things, you're screwed. I'm just gonna say this now. This film is very like, which I think is one of the best parts about the film. It dives a lot deeper into the FNAF lore with the animatronics and the Fazbear. And by the way, Megan Fox, who voices Chica in this film, right? And there's Bonnie the Rabbit and Foxy the Fox, yeah. And and Josh Hutcherson reprises his role as like the main guy looking after his younger sister from the first film. And there's Vanessa, who's like, and then there's and Matthew Lillard reprises his role for the first film too, and what's his face, Biggie, Wayne Knight plays a science teacher in this film. For those who don't know, Wayne Knight plays Dennis Nedry in Jurassic Park, and he was also on Seinfeld, and he voices Tantor the elephant in the Disney movie Tarzan, as well as that one, the evil bald fat guy in Toy Story 2. Yeah, no, I got a lot of respect for him as an actor, and yeah, I was like, hey, I recognize that voice somewhere, and I looked him up, and I was like, yes, Nedry, Dotson, we got Dotson here. See, nobody cares. Yes, that guy from the meme, indeed, yes, indeed. And yeah, it's like, I will say this, my favorite parts about the film were like the lore and how they expanded further upon it, and like, the opening scene. And like, I say that after the opening scene, the film kind of takes a plummet in terms of like pacing. I thought the second half of the film was overall like more engaging than the first half. And the ending of the movie, without spoiling it, I like legit just went, "Oh, are you kidding me?" Like, it was very just WTF inducing. But stick around for the credits. There is a little secret thing at the end of the credits for this film. And yeah, I'd say like throughout the film, it was never boring. I can't say I was uninterested. Like, there definitely are some like cooler moments. But overall, I'd say this film doesn't really do much of the first film it hadn't done well. Like, I think everything that the sequel film that FNAF 2 does do right, the first FNAF film just did better, honestly. Like, there's just some character, like Skeet Ulrich is in this. Ulrich is in this film too. Like, he was very underutilized. I feel like there's just some like weird moments, and there's just like some like pacing issues, like narratively speaking, like, characters making dumb decisions. Like, it's a horror movie, of course there's gonna be characters making dumb decisions. Like, what do you expect? But yeah, I'd say like and I remember reading this thing before recording this video, and I was like piecing together my thoughts for it. I was reading a little bit on like YouTube comment sections on this one review, people saying like, oh yeah, like if there's gonna be a third, just with the way this film ends up, again, without going into it, like, yes, they definitely are going for a third film in the franchise, which I will say this, I would like to see that happen, but like, part of me kind of agrees that it would benefit from like an R rating. Like, PG-13 horror films have their place for sure. Like, Megan, for example, which I still haven't seen Megan 2.0, but like, I saw the first Megan, back, when I was in Nebraska, right, when I lived there almost, I was like, oh my god, that movie's almost 3 years old at this point. That's insane. But yeah, Megan is another Blumhouse like PG-13 horror film that really utilizes, like, because I think usually horror movies not being R-rated kind of like, can be a red flag to a lot of people, because like, oh, there's not as much potential with like scare factor with like, you can't like have there be tons of blood and gore in a PG-13 horror film, for example, right? But Megan is an example of a film that like when there is like, I said this in my review back then and I'll say it again here, like it's like when there is more blood and gore, when there is more profanity or more not family-friendly content being used in that film, there's just so much more gravity to it. And I would like to see, not gonna lie, a third, like, FNAF film with an R rating would probably, like, be, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Would probably definitely be great, like, fan service in some ways, right? But, like, I would like, if they are going to stick with the PG-13 rating, for the next, like, for the third, or heck, time will tell, I guess, the fourth FNAF film, they could find more ways to just, like, I guess, push the envelope, so to speak, because I understand there are, like, a lot of kids who do like Five Nights at Freddy's, the animatronics, everything, but yeah, if they are going to stick with the PG-13 rating, I just hope they just expand on the potential of the films, so to speak. But yeah, overall, I'd give Five Nights at Freddy's 2. That's another thing. This film is like tanking with the critics. Like, it's like, last time I checked, it's got like a 12% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. Meanwhile, it has an 88% rating with the audience score. Like, it was, which I don't think I've ever seen a critic's reception, audience reception for a film ever be that split. Like, clearly there are a lot of, like, Five Nights at Freddy's fans who, like, give audience reviews on Rotten Tomatoes, I guess, or people who just really loved the first film. I'd say overall, like, I'm kind of just in the middle with this movie. I'm giving it like a 5 out of 9 stars. I mean, I did enjoy the film. Like, I wasn't bored, but I feel like there's just some ways where it could have been, like, a lot better. So yeah, 5 out of 9 stars. I think it's a passable film. Like, again, if you don't know anything about FNAF lore or haven't, like, seen the first movie or played any games, like, you're probably going to agree with the critics. But if you are, like, a big fan of Five Nights at Freddy's, and if you really like the first film, you're probably going to side a lot more with the audience. That's pretty much the gist of it. Also, we got Spotify Wrapped within the past week. I also like how I dedicated the first part of this video to Five Nights at Freddy's. I also want to dedicate another portion of it to Spotify Wrapped. I think that's what I'm gonna use for the thumbnail. And I have a little surprise coming for you guys. I uploaded a whole slew of like derby cover videos within the last week of November this year. I still have 2 more derby cover videos that I've not edited yet, and plan on doing so sometime before the year ends, before Christmas rolls around. Yeah, I'm gonna upload 2 more derby cover videos I've filmed within the past 2 months, or month and a half, so to speak, at this point. Yeah, and I will give you a heads up, one of the songs that I've sung, for a derby cover was, though it is, if you look at the thumbnail, or, this screenshot right here, there is, I did sing one of the songs, and I've, filmed it, and that's, and again, it's one of the derby covers I haven't uploaded yet, so here's your little hint right now as to what song I sang. Oh boy, I love to sing. It's I'm more of a casual singer, I guess. Because, I don't know, I just, like these skizzo ramblings, I just have a lot of fun making derby cover videos. It's a great way for me to let off steam, in a weird sense. Going to, the karaoke place that I live right next to here in Columbus, and just seeing my new friends I've made here in Ohio there. It's a really great time. It's you gotta have a way to get out of the house and just cut loose, here and there. It's because my most played song on Spotify this year was Up From the Bottom by Linkin Park, and it's crazy. This was the year where Green Day was dethroned as my most streamed artist, because I got Spotify back in 2021 when I was still a student at a CSU, and that was the summer before I graduated, that December. right? I got the student discount with Spotify Premium, and Hulu came included with it too. And that was like, I just made my homework playlist: Avenged Sevenfold, Dragon Force, Eminem, and a lot of Disney songs and video game soundtracks, right? And Avenged Sevenfold was my most played artist on Spotify that year, and because I would listen to them all the time while doing homework and studying, they're fantastic live, by the way. Like, if you Avenged Sevenfold, I'm so glad I saw them with Falling in Reverse and Living Color back when they toured together during like my summer at the Utica Zoo in upstate New York, interning there, that is. But yeah, from 2022 until last year, like for 3 years in a row, Green Day was my top played artist on Spotify, because like, Green Day is my all-time favorite band, and I'm such a creature of habit with my playlists. Now, like, I have 12 playlists based on all the months of the year, and 5 based on the seasons: spring, summer, fall, and I have 2 winter playlists. One is without Christmas music that I save for like January and February and like early mid-March up until the spring equinox, right? And the other I save strictly for like, the winter solstice up until like the last day of Christmas, or more like New Year's, I guess. One is I save for that, that 10-12 day period was like a huge 50-50 split between the Christmas music and the not Christmas music. Like, not every song on that winter playlist is on my December playlist, but every song on my December playlist, which is like the vast majority of it is Christmas music, is also on that winter playlist, right? While the other winter playlist, on the other hand, just umbrellas my January and February playlists. If I'm making any sense to you guys like that. Yeah, and like all of since Green Day is my favorite band, the first time I saw Green Day live was March of 2017 during the Revolution Radio tour, right? And so March and April, for that reason, are like, the springtime really gets me in a much, in a much bigger mood for like alternative music, like 90s and 2000s rock, like Green Day and Linkin Park and Fall Out Boy and Nirvana and My Chemical Romance and Imagine Dragons and the Foo Fighters and Paramore, Social Distortion, Breaking Benjamin, The Offspring, bands like that. Panic at the Disco too, right? And like, so my spring playlist starts with Know Your Enemy and ends with Ordinary World. My summer playlist, on the other hand, starts with 21 Guns and ends with Good Riddance. My fall playlist starts with Waking Up When September Ends and ends with Macy's Day Parade. And my winter playlist, both of them I should say, start with 21st Century Breakdown and end with What's Her Name. So because I have put so much Green Day and Fall Out Boy and Linkin Park and Imagine Dragons on all 4 of my season playlists, like, it's like, obviously Green Day had not surprised me for topping like my Spotify for 3 years in a row. But this year, since we got the deluxe version of Linkin Park's latest album, From Zero, like the deluxe version was like dropped this past like late spring, early summer, right? And they released an exclusive song on it, Up From the Bottom. I heard that song played, I was like, whoa, this is a banger already. And then Eliza and I saw them in concert at Sonic Temple this past May. We only got the single day ticket for Linkin Park the day they were headlining, which was also with Hoobastank and Trivium and I Prevail. Well, Sonic Temple's a huge music festival over 4 days. You're not over like playing on 4 different stages. I think this year for 2026 there's gonna be a 5th stage. I've seen the lineup already. It's like, ooh, I really considered making that an annual tradition, because I think Sonic Temple, like, even though Eliza and I were only there for just 1 day, it might just be a contender for the best day of my life. Oh my gosh, which I already talked a lot more in depth on Sonic Temple in my June Skizzo rambling. So yeah. Anyways, I saw one of the songs that they played was Up From the Bottom, and I was like, and it was Emily Armstrong like leading it with her, playing lead guitar on it too, which is the only time I remember seeing her play an instrument on stage. Like, I was well aware of the controversy surrounding Linkin Park's reunion. Like, Emily Armstrong, say whatever you want about her as a person, with her ties to Scientology and that whole shit fest that, that was this past September, or should I say September of last year, when the Emptiness Machine was dropped, right? Yeah. And people just thinking that the whole, the reunion was bound to start controversy regardless of who the new lead singer was, because, she's had some huge shoes to fill with, Chester Bennington not being with us anymore. God, I miss him every day. But the way I see it, again, putting aside all that, I think it's not, they didn't get a new lead singer to replace Chester. If they really wanted to get a new lead singer as a way to replace Chester, quote unquote, they would have probably picked another male singer to do so. I think picking a female singer was just the right call to make it really sound hey, we're not replacing Chester Bennington, we're just carrying on his new legacy in a new direction. I mean, any of you, my fellow Linkin Park fans who want to correct me in the comments, go ahead and do so. But yeah, Linkin Park was actually my most played artist this year on Spotify, with Green Day being second. Green Day probably would have been number one again if it weren't for me playing up from the bottom into absolute oblivion, because I was I was like, okay, that's it, I gotta put that song in my May playlist, because we saw them and all the other bands we saw at Sonic Temple that day, for my May playlist. And I might as well just make this the most played song that I have on Spotify this year, because I was, hey, out of all the songs I'm going to be listening to that are released in 2025, I can say, hey, I saw this Linkin Park song in concert, and just, play the hell out of it until, for that reason. And I think my other most played artists, oh shoot, I was like, what the heck, I'm just gonna read it to you guys, just give it, jingle, 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 the jingly jingle, 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 forgive the background noise. Yeah, I listened to 108,701 minutes. My top genre of the year was metal, and my top songs, and they were, that was, up from, and there's the up from the bottom, and then Wild Side, then Sacred, then Paper Tiger, then Bury Me With My Screams. It's just Wild Side was from Billy Idol and Joan Jett. Sacred was from Parkway Drive. Paper Tiger was from Arch Enemy, and Bury Me With My Screams was from Trivium. Trivium, like I said, they play at Sonic Temple too. I looked at their set list. Almost all the songs they played during their set at Sonic Temple were just off their album that turned 20 years old this year. For understandable, because I know they were leading a tour with a Bullet for My Valentine on in memory of, in honor of both albums turning 20 that year, with Trivium's and Bullet for My Valentines respectively. Right? But they released Bury Me With My Screams 2 months later, and their whole Struck Dead EP right after that. So I mean, I'm just imagining what that song would have been like if they had played that back in May, or their other classics they didn't get the chance to play, The Defiant and The Core of the Dragon and Scattering the Ashes. Oh, those songs are all bangers. But yeah, they played songs off that album, and they also ended their set with N Waves, and it was glorious. But anyways, yeah, my top artists this year were Linkin Park at number one. Like I said, Green Day is my second. Fall Out Boy is my third. Like I said, I have a lot of Fall Out Boy and Linkin Park on my other season playlists, and a lot of Weezer too, my season playlists. So they're number 4. Yeah, because Weezer has 4 EPs all based around the seasons, and I'm just like, Weezer, I love you. I saw them and Fall Out Boy and Green Day all together during the Hell and Mega tour with my friend Casey back in 2021. Yeah, I liked Weezer before that concert. I love Weezer now, and them releasing seasons EPs just makes me love them even more, because Weezer, you read my mind. I base all my playlists during the months and the seasons. And my 5th most played artist was Parkway Drive, which, for those who don't know, they're the most streamed metal band from Australia. And yeah, they've grown on me a lot since I moved to Columbus, for whatever reason. Yeah, it's they're just, there's so many bangers. Them and Beartooth, the metal, because Beartooth is also metalcore like Parkway Drive is. They're 2 of those metalcore bands I guess you can categorize Beartooth as like metalcore, because I consider Beartooth like metal with alternative leanings, more or less, right? Like they toured together too. I would have loved to have gone to Incarceration. It's another huge music. I think the two major music festivals here in Ohio are Sonic Temple in Columbus, like every May, and Incarceration in Mansfield. With every July. And like Beartooth and Parkway Drive toured with Killswitch Engage and Falling in Reverse on the whole Summer of Loud tour and other bands. Yeah, I so would have gone that festival if it weren't, because I was out of town in Colorado visiting my mom for her remarriage, for her wedding ceremony, back in July. And also, like, even if I was in town, the tickets were just too expensive. I already blew through all my concert money this year on like Beartooth and Sonic Temple, and also, it was a free concert, but Eliza and I saw Quiet Riot at the Popcorn Festival. It was like, for those of you who don't really listen to hair metal, like, that was the first band that, like, Randy Rhoads played, or it was the band that Randy Rhoads played guitar for before he, played guitar for Ozzy. Yeah, both of them, may they rest in peace. Ozzy Osbourne, that is. That was really rough to deal with this past summer, but yeah. I mean, I've been to Mansfield. Eliza and I have been there together a few times, but I have not been to the prison that The Shawshank Redemption was filmed at. Like, there's a lot of Ohio I still haven't had a chance to visit, which I'll definitely get into more of that in the next Skizzo Rambling, which is going to be my, like, New Year's Day Skizzo Rambling, which it's going to be my second year in a row doing that. I think doing like the New Year's Day Skizzo Ramblings is going to replace my my annual vlogs that I do on New Year's Day, because I already been like making Skizzo Rambling videos just like consistently on like the first day, or at least close to the first day of each month as possible already, so might as well just get in the habit of just like having Skizzo Ramblings kind of like not completely replace the vlogs, or I guess like just do what I was doing in the vlogs, but instead of like filming myself with like an actual camera, just like walking around talking about life every single New Year's Day, might as well do so with like some Minecraft gameplay over it, like what I do for the Skizzo Ramblings. So yeah, my New Year's Day Skizzo Rambling for 2026 is also going to just like be kind of like my just big ass like recap of 2025, just looking back on it, how the year went as a whole, so to speak. Because I've been doing those kind of videos like ever since like 2015, which, because 2014 was my first full year of making videos when I was like a freshman, sophomore in high school. Yeah, like, because I've been giving my channel statistics, like counting up all the likes, dislikes, and views I got on my videos within the past year. And just like, yeah, just looking back on the year and how it went, like, just discussing future plans. So probably I'm gonna like save more of that for that video, but like, so for this, just like the regular monthly Skizzo Ramblings though, I'm just gonna like try my best to just like recap on things that happened in the past month and not talk so much about like stuff that happened like earlier that year or things that happened in the past. Because I got some really big news for you guys in the end. This is why I haven't been like uploading videos as like consistently as I would like to admit. My second job is closing soon. It was a huge shocker and a bummer to all of us. Like, right before Thanksgiving, my boss's boss at the LA Fitness I've been working front desk at for almost a year at this point, basically called us saying that us and another location here in Columbus are shutting down permanently. And our last day is December 18th. Yeah, we're gonna close at 2 p.m. that day. And it's so, like, it's such a bummer, because it's like, honestly, we didn't even get like a proper explanation as to why they're shutting the place down, because we get so many people at my specific location. It's not the busiest location here in Columbus, but it's definitely one of the busier locations, let's just say that. And it's just like, it's just dang. Like, so much speculation is going through our head, because like, even though I've only been living here in Columbus for 15 months, I have a lot of memories of that building, even before I got the job there, like last December. Which is funny, my interview there was December 13th. It was Friday the 13th last year, and also my friend Eric's birthday. But yeah, like, It's just, if I went back in time a year ago and told 26-year-old Vitas who just got hired, they're like, oh yeah, this place is shutting down in a year from now, I think that past me would have been like, no! Like, what if the funniest thing is, our last day, being December 18th, is also the same day as my anniversary of graduating college. Like, yeah, December 18th of 2021, I graduated from CSU with my English degree. And it's funny, like, this is why December is one of my favorite months of the year. Up there with, like, October and November, honestly. Like, fall is just my favorite out of the 4 seasons. And it's like, it's just December to me, and October too, honestly, are like my 2 months where I do just the most recollecting. Just thinking back on, like, where I was in life now compared to, like, or should I say where I am in life now compared to, like, where I was a year or two ago. And it's like, every year I've kind of found myself saying this, but especially since, like, I graduated from CSU. Like, if 2022 Vitas went back a year ago and told fresh out of CSU 23-year-old me that, like, hey, you're gonna be interning in a zoo in freaking Nebraska of all states, a state I'd never been to before, part of my internship at the Riverside Discovery Center, after leaving, not just leaving Fort Collins, but interning at Cheyenne Mountain Zoo in Colorado Springs, I think that, 23-year-old me would have been flabbergasted. And I remember saying this in my New Year's Eve Q&A I filmed with Eric and Dale Reacts back in 2023. Going into 2024, I was like, hey, if 25-year-old Vitas went back and told 24-year-old Vitas, so, like, hey, you're gonna move back to Melbourne, I think 24-year-old Vitas would have just grabbed 25-year-old me and just shook him by the shoulders, like, have you lost your fucking mind, going all the way back to, like, where I grew up, living at my dad's house again in New Jersey? Because I would have eaten glass, like, prior to my internship at the Utica Zoo in upstate New York that summer. I would have probably eaten glass before moving back to Melbourne. But I think that was what I would have said, like, if I were, back in college, because one of the main reasons why I chose CSU was to get far away from home and, like, get a fresh start somewhere else. But it's like, if living back home in Melbourne back then for 13 months, as well as, like, moving to all different places I went to for my internships, like Nebraska and then upstate New York, taught me anything, and heck, if living here in Columbus for the past 15 months has taught me anything, is that, like, it wasn't really, it's not like, I don't really, like, hate places. I already don't hate anyone. I don't hate people. And I don't hate people necessarily. Like, if I meet people who just have, like, a really toxic or unlikable personality, I just feel bad for them more than anything. I don't hate them. And it's just too much energy for me to dislike someone. If someone is just, like, a really just rude, snobby, unpleasant, just miserable person to be around, nobody gets that way by accident. So it's like, probably just wants to, like, sit down and just talk to them and be like, hey man, like, what's happening? Like, tell me. Like, that sort of thing, I guess. And I don't hate any places again either for that reason. Like, because thinking back on when I was younger and just wanting to get the hell out of New Jersey, like, nearing the end of high school especially, like, back 2017, I think, I was just so ready to just get out of the East Coast and just go off to Colorado and be like, I'm never looking back. And yet again, I moved back there, and, after my internship at the Utica Zoo ended. And that's the thing, if last year, like, 26-year-old me went back to 25-year-old me going into, like, 2023, that sort of time frame, and said, hey, you're finally going to get a zoo job next year, and it's going to be at the Columbus Zoo in Ohio. Yeah, and here I am telling and saying to myself, or saying, like, if I were to let 26-year-old me know, they're like, hey, you're gonna live up to your New Year's resolution of, of not moving again, so to speak, and just staying put in one place for a year. Like, I think not only that, but, like, just filling him on everything that's happened within the past 12 months. Like, I think that, I would say 26-year-old me would probably be flabbergasted. So, God only knows how much 28-year-old me next year is, assuming I'm still alive by then. Cursed thoughts. Uh, you know, I'm sure whatever 2026 holds, like, it's gonna be full of surprises, regardless. I mean, I'm very, very, very blessed to say this, but like, 2025 has been my favorite year compared to all the other years prior to it. I mean, I found love this year. Like, I saw Five Nights at Freddy's 2 with Eliza earlier today, and it's like, oh shoot, how many movies have we seen together? Yeah, our first date was to see the Looney Tunes movie, the day the Earth blew up, back in March. Right. And yeah, we saw a Minecraft movie together. That was the day I actually asked her if she wanted to be my girlfriend, and it was like, and yeah, it's funny because it's been almost 6 years since actually almost 7 years since I visited my relatives in Montreal for for New Year's that year, and I told them, it's like, oh, I've heard about couples who've like met their like future spouse on like Minecraft or Call of Duty or some online game like that. So they were joking the whole 10 days I was out visiting them. They were just like, oh, Vitas is gonna meet his future wife on Minecraft. It's like, I mean, we met on Bumble back in March, but like, I could tell them, I should message them again and be like, hey, we saw a Minecraft movie together. I was close. Oh man. But that is like also another huge surprise. What the hell am I saying? I literally said earlier in this video I'd save the end of you recollecting for the New Year's Day skizzo rambling. Here's the thing. My plans for New Year's Eve are still kind of up in the air at the moment. Like, I'm not sure if I'm going to be working at... Because, yes, my main gym location is closing soon, but I've already been covering a lot of shifts at other LA Fitnesses here in Columbus. So I already have like stuff lined up for me, like, after my main gym closes. Like, I'm gonna be stationed primarily at one of the other locations, and just to keep jumping around other shifts where I'm not obviously I'm gonna be back at one of the other locations tomorrow morning. So when I'm not needed at my main place or at the zoo, which my last day before my next layoff period from the zoo is going to be in January this time. I actually haven't been there for the past few days. I'm not going to be back there until Friday because apparently I've already hit my capacity with seasonal hours I'm allowed to have for 2025, and the fiscal new year doesn't reset until the 12th, December 12th, that is. So yeah, a little heads up to anyone who's like, if you are going to be a seasonal at Columbus Zoo, like let's just say you're in the position I was in, like August of 2024, like, being hired for a seasonal position at the Columbus Zoo and still just like getting ready to move for it and haven't getting started yet, you cannot go over 1,508 hours within the span of like mid-December. So for 2026, for example, like if you start your job at the Columbus Zoo, your seasonal job in 2026, you will not be able to go over capacity with 1,508 hours. So you gotta spread. So whether you stay in one department or not, you have to like spread them out between like mid-December 2026, or I guess 2025, still in this case. So starting next weekend, up until like mid-December 2026. So yeah, whether you get your 2-month layoff period in the middle of that year or not, like, yeah, I got it. So if I'm gonna come back to the events and promotions team for a full 10-month session, I'm still determined to like get back into like an animal position like the one I was in last year, the Congo expedition, with the gorillas and the other primates and the leopards and the okapis. I'm still determined to get back into one of the animal departments or give education like a chance this coming spring when my next layoff period ends, but I would love, honestly, any of the above works good for me. Like, just if I am going to be a seasonal here in Columbus for multiple, like, seasonal positions, before I get my first full-time position, whether it's with zookeeping or educating or whatever the heck else, like, yeah, I might as well try out different departments, and broaden my horizons as much as I can, because I have been having a great time, like, working Wild Nights. It's just, I've been working almost too much. That's the problem. And yeah, so lately, all of my zoo shifts have been relieved until I get back there on Friday. So I've just been picking up. So before we close, since, our managers and our sales team has all basically jumped ship within the span of a week. Obviously, love them to death. They've been fantastic, and it's just time for other things. But yeah, with that being said, since we're so understaffed now, like it's just myself, the other front desk guys, and like our maintenance team, all basically just holding down the fort until the 18th. So I've just been working there as much as I could, which is why I haven't been available these past couple of evenings, or haven't had any time to make this video in the first place. So yeah, that's why if I'm going long stretches of time without uploading any videos, it probably means I'm just too busy with work, and I'm going to be busy, really busy again with work. So I'm just gonna try to build up my savings this year, as just make as much money as I can this fall for rent and savings, and and just and other things like car stuff, and and just money for my weekly expenses like food and making YouTube videos, obviously, because like I said, I've said this before many times in previous videos, won't be my first, won't be my last, most likely. But YouTube is not a job. I don't make a cent off of doing this. It's just a hobby. And I really don't see this changing anytime soon, me not having enough views to monetize my videos. But one thing I definitely know I'd like to do during my next layoff period, I'm working as much as I can now between both jobs at the zoo and at the gym. So I won't have to work as much later during my next layoff period, where I'm not going to be at the zoo again for 2 months. And I am going to have to, get back and get into the whole swing of things with a new gym location and jumping around that for 2 months until I'm back at the zoo again in March. Yeah, I might as well just work as much as I can now, so I won't have to work as much then. I won't have to scramble to pick up gym shifts to make ends meet as much during late January and February and early March. So I can spend more time making more videos and just trying to improve my editing skills as much as I can too. And just being more on top of my game, which is creative stuff. There is such a thing as, there's this saying the starving artist. I wanted to make that work during the summer, but I didn't have as much saved up as I thought I did. Let's just say that. So I gotta try to do that as much as I can now, so it won't be as much of a problem later, if that all makes any sense. But yeah, that's the latest and greatest. I'm gonna, the end of the year, but I don't really have any plans for New Year's Eve at the moment. I'm not, so, depending, I already know I'm gonna be working until at least 1:30 that day at the zoo, but maybe I'll work at the gym again, so if I'm too busy to record it on New Year's Eve, right, my answer session to your guys' questions, because I'm doing my annual New Year's Eve Q&A, if I can't answer your questions on New Year's Eve, I'm just too busy with New Year's plans that evening, I'll just answer all of your questions in the skizzo rambling that I'm gonna make for New Year's Day. That's what I did in Nebraska, New Year's Day 2023. Because I was too busy with work on New Year's Eve the night beforehand, New Year's Eve 2022, at the part-time job I was juggling with the internship at the RDC. So if it ends up being the case again this year, I'll just make the answer video, I'll just include all your questions I'm going to answer, just as probably the first part of the skizzo rambling. Either that, or I'll probably live stream it again this year, again, if I have the time to do so. But yeah, just stay tuned. It's gonna be, like I said, 2026, it's gonna be another wild year. And it's it's not a skizzo rambling or any video of mine without gibberish. Yes, and that's going to conclude this video. Thank you all for watching this skizzo rambling. You guys have a wonderful night, and stay beastly. See so shock.